Cherry pie with frozen cherries is easy and delicious. Here I have 24 ounces or 3 cups or 680 grams of frozen cherries that I have thawed. These are sour cherries. I don't know if you know, but there are actually two types of cherries. Sweet cherries and sour cherries, also known as tart cherries. Sweet cherries are what you're probably most familiar with. Bing cherries, for example. They're sweet, they're big. A lot of them, if you buy them in the United States, they're grown in Washington State. You eat those when you are eating cherries as a snack. However, sour cherries fall within two groups. Morello cherries, which are dark, and Amarello cherries, which are a lighter red. And within the Amarello group is a type of cherry called a Montmorency cherry. These frozen sour cherries are from Michigan, and the sour cherries in Michigan and Door County, Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken, are mostly Montmorency, so that's what I am guessing that they are. Hence the name. They aren't as sweet, they're sour. They are used a lot in baked goods that call for cherries. I know I'm making a dessert with a ton of sugar, but from what I've read about these sour cherries that are grown in Michigan, they are actually very high in nutrients, comparable to, if not more nutrients than acai berries, which I know are really popular. So you might want to look into those for health reasons if you're looking for something that's a superfood. But like I said, this is a pie recipe, so we can't forget our sugar. I am using 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of sugar, so that's, as I measure it, 236 grams, plus 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Here I have 8 tablespoons of cornstarch, 80 grams, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, and honestly, these are fairly tart, so if you want to leave out the lemon juice, I think it'll be okay. But something that's a bit surprising is 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. That's in a lot of cherry desserts and cherry pie recipes. I'll talk about that a little bit more. And now I'm just going to make the cherry pie filling. Like I said, I am adding almond extract to it. I know you're probably saying, Parnell, have you lost your chef hat? Why are you adding almond extract to a cherry pie? Well, actually, like I said, it's in a lot of cherry pie recipes, and cherries and almonds are in the same genus. So when you're talking about plants, there are genus and species, and I've kind of gotten away from horticulture and botany, but what I'm trying to point out is that cherries and almonds, along with plums and peaches, are all botanically related. So I guess it's not that far-fetched that almond extract would be good in cherry pie. And like I said, a lot of recipes call for almond extract. You would be surprised. And last year I made a sweet cherry pie recipe, and it was phenomenal. The almond extract really brings out the cherry flavor. My cherry pie filling is mixed. Now I'm just going to pour it into the par-baked pie shell. And like I said, it was 2 years ago maybe, I can't remember exactly, I made a sweet cherry pie recipe, and it was really good. I'll have to make one again. The only difference is that I did 3 tablespoons of lemon juice and 1 cup of sugar, half light brown, half white. And my friends tried it, and they said it was the best pie that they had ever had. At least one of the best, so. Now it's time to put on the top crust of this cherry pie with frozen cherries. But before you do, just make sure that all the cherries are spread out evenly how you want them, just like with any fruit pie. Like always, my top crust is rolled out on this wax paper. I'm just going to take it and put it on the top like that. Try and position it as much over the center as possible. And then I'm just going to peel it back. And now I'm going to take my little knife and cut off the overhanging dough. Once the excess dough is trimmed from around the edges and any holes are patched up, just take your fingers and seal the edges. And now for the slits in the top. Just like with all fruit pies, as a fruit filling cooks, it's going to create steam, which will push the top crust up and may result in a dome that's hollow underneath. So what I did is I took my ruler, I found the center, poked a hole there with a toothpick, and now I am going to go through a bit of, as the Argentine would say, quilombo or mess, because I'm going to use this ruler to try to guide me as I make slits in this pie. A few slits here and there is all you really need, but I like to make it a bit more orderly. But before it goes into the oven, just like with all my pies, I'm going to sprinkle it with 2 tablespoons of sugar. This is going to add a touch of extra sweetness as well as crunch. The combination of textures is incredible. I just took my cherry pie with frozen cherries out of the oven. It was in at 350 for 55 minutes. There are a few drops of filling over on that side, but not really much boil over. This cherry pie with frozen cherries was incredibly delicious. I haven't had a frozen cherry pie in a long time, but I had them when I was younger, and from what I remember, I don't remember the frozen cherry pies having quite as much of a tartness to them. So I'm guessing that the cherry pie that I grew up with was a sweet cherry pie, not a sour cherry pie. If you're used to a cherry pie that doesn't have a lot of tartness, then this will be different. Although I used 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of sugar, it was good, but next time I think I'd do 2 more tablespoons. So 1 cup plus another quarter cup, or as I measure, 260 grams. I actually went back and forth with myself for a long time trying to decide how much sugar to add. Although a cup plus 2 tablespoons was good, I think more would make it better. 1 1/4 cups, perhaps even 1 1/4 cups plus 2 tablespoons. However, one thing that I wanted to point out about this pie was the color. Just like the strawberry pie, the filling was an intense, vibrant red. Much more so than the sweet cherry pie I made in the past. Although I think that you could definitely leave out the teaspoon of lemon juice since these cherries are already fairly tart, the almond extract, even though it may sound odd, I think is key. If you don't do a lot of baking, I know almond extract might not be something you have on hand. You probably just have vanilla. But if you want to make a really good cherry pie, I highly recommend you go find some almond extract. It will make an incredible difference. Just like with all my other fruit pies, I think this cherry pie made with frozen cherries gelled perfectly. Although it wasn't runny by any means, and I'm very proud of that fact because a lot of cherry pies are actually quite runny, it wasn't super solid either. The filling had just the right amount of give. And as always, the sugar sprinkled on top added a nice bit of crunch. The crunch of the sugar combined with the soft, gooey filling and the flaky, buttery crust was unforgettable. Although this pie was definitely delicious on its own, a little bit of vanilla ice cream was a nice touch as well. Although this pie was good, I think the sweet cherry pie was a bit better because I'm not used to the tartness. The tartness of sour cherries is better in Cherry Crisp, which I will be showing you in the near future. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye.